Woke Nation, welcome back to Breaking Dawn. Now, at this time, we take a deeper look into some of the leading political issues, right? In the headlines, we're still joined by Kanya Bonani, good friend of the show's political analyst. And I guess today in politics, there's a couple of things that we need to just deal with. But two people, essentially. It would be just President Cyril Ramaphosa and Julius Malema, right? When this thing started, beginning of the week, everybody was calling for the president of Cyril Ramaphosa. Make a speech, where are you, be visible. It took about 3 days.
What is the plan?
Yes, it took about 3 days.
In 5 hours.
He then spoke, no, I'm not even talking about yesterday. It took 3 days, then he spoke on Wednesday morning, right?
Yeah.
At the opening of the WEF Forum. He spoke there and he kind of touched on gender-based violence. Seemed like that would be enough.
We also were expecting to hear from the ministers of justice. There was another meeting a little bit later on of ministers who were also talking about this, which was quite interesting because the president spoke, then the minister spoke, but the minister of justice wasn't there. One of the security cluster ministers, I just need to check. And then yesterday, the president had 2 speeches.
But even when, what's her name, Urano Lamula spoke, he misspoke, right? Then there's talks about death penalty, and then they've got to clean that up. This is all happening. People are dying, the streets are burning, right? And then as Googs points out, oh, wait, before something else happens, that Wednesday afternoon, women protest in Cape Town, they met with water cannons.
Phase 1.
Tone deaf. This is all happening, right? Then Julius Malema goes that afternoon, guys, we're having a press conference tomorrow. Seeing an opportunity. Then Cyril Ramaphosa realizes, okay, fine, we're sleeping at the wheel. Comes out yesterday morning, speaks to a woman, as you can see, down in Cape Town.
Quite a difficult speech. There was a lot of booing. Young women in particular, because many of them were students from the public universities in Cape Town, saying, you know, we don't want to hear from you. We're tired of the speaking. You know, we want action. That's why we are here. And then he said, yes, later on I will reveal the plan of action.
Now, I bring all of this up just to lay the groundwork so you realize what led us to this point. When Julius then spoke, which was before the president officially addressed everybody, Julius, when he does a press conference, for example, is usually flanked by Floyd Chivambu, then there'll be Mbuyiseni.
And the chairperson, Advocate Mbofu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very different yesterday. Yesterday he was flanked by Mandisa and Lee Matthys, right? Lee Matthys was wearing African earrings. I'm not sure if that's deliberate or not, but hey, who knows? Then Julius speaks off the cuff, like he usually does, which would have been a heartfelt speech, regardless of whether you agree with the content, but deals with the issues that everybody wants to hear about. Comes out, says, guys, death penalty, no, cannot go there. Condemns the violence, apologizes on behalf of South Africans. Basically, comes through very much presidential. And then yesterday, President Cyril Ramaphosa comes out and does that.
Julius Malema, yes, he took a very opportune time to speak out. I'm surprised that the DA didn't consider having a presser of their own or making a statement. I think they've been the most silent out of all of the big parties. I think with Julius Malema, I think the messaging came just the right time, and also I think having the female caucus, you know, at the back of him is also brilliant, I think, because this is at the back of the ANC Women's League saying, oh, hi guys, I know it's been a while, but chemical castration is such a great, you know, way of dealing with this without understanding the wheels that need to turn, 1, but 2, completely undermining all of the work that's been done by all of these women and these, not just women in civil society, but also these hashtags, these new movements that are emerging, completely undermining what the problem is, completely saying, yeah, but you know, we have laws, and those laws work, but chemical castration, that's the way to go.
And then the final nail in the coffin, then, so let me ask this. In your opinion, we spoke about this in the trending topic, the mistake, which was a genuine mistake, of course, by Cyril, but how it made him come across, surely that didn't help him either.
I mean, with Cyril, he's had a tough week. It's 100 days into his presidency. He's dealing with international guests on the one hand, trying to punt South Africa as this great place to come and put your wealth in and invest in. But on the other hand, dealing with the fact that locally, on the streets, things are burning. And I think the mistake is not just something that makes him come across as someone who's not fully present to all of the issues that are happening in the country, but says a lot about the people behind the scenes in the presidency and what they are flagging. And I think it was a touch game issue more than anything else. I think that the president needs to remember that as much as he can't be in 300 million places at once, the team behind him need to do that work for him so that things like that don't present themselves often. Because if you're going to make that mistake during a week like this, what's going to happen later on in the line, if things don't improve?
But Googs was even asking who's advising him. Why, for example, would you want a pre-record a message on something so important and then be live at WEF?
WEF.
What are you saying?
I think the issue of presence is one, but I think the other problem here is that it's not just the advisors that timed this out wrong. It's also, you have to think about the public broadcast and what sort of position you place them in the scenario. Knowing that the president needs to make a message, you would have stopped everything else and be like, okay, this is breaking news. Let's stop what we're all doing and let's make the situation live. Whether the mistake will happen live or pre-recorded is another issue for another day. But I think the advisors should have taken the advantage of the fact that they have the muscle and the weight of the presidency. They can stop things and make the entire country stop what they're doing so they can listen to this in detail. Because I think it being pre-recorded was almost like a public service announcement rather than it was
An address.
country, understand what we're going through. I'm in pain with you, and I need for us to look at these ways of dealing with it. But I think further, what should have happened in a live